Hi everybody, welcome to this Six Bricks taster session, and over the next 45 minutes I'm going to take you through some of my experience with Six Bricks and also give you a sample of what takes place during some of the certified training that we do for Six Bricks. Okay, so we're going to start by putting the slides up, please. Thank you. Okay, so let's just have a look first of all at just a little bit about me. Now, I know you saw a little bit on the screen explaining what I do, my background and so on, but just to say to you that I am a teacher by profession. I started to teach back in the 1970s, so I've been teaching for a long time, more than 40 years, but I've also held various different roles in education, right through the different levels in education, through to teacher training, director of the curriculum development unit here in Dublin in Ireland, which is where I'm based. I'm coming to you today from Ireland, and so on. So many different positions. But one of the things that I've always been interested in is active teaching and learning. And I know that all of you are probably interested in this as well, because you're educators or you're working in some aspect of education. And for me, the critical thing was always, how do I make learning more fun, more memorable, and make it more accessible for students? And so a number of years ago, I started to work with Lego. And I started initially with Lego Serious Play. Now, many of you are probably Lego Serious Play facilitators, or you're certainly using aspects of Lego Serious Play in your work. But for me, the key thing was at that time was, how do I adapt that to suit the students that I work with, to adapt it for education? And of course, once you start to work with Lego, one of the things that you're going to find is that Lego is on your radar, especially if you're finding it useful in your work. And for me, I was getting a lot of success with using the Lego. It was making learning much more fun and accessible. And so for that reason, I started to look for other Lego programs. So I would have started to use Lego-based therapy. I was designing some of my own Lego programs. And then I came across the Six Bricks. Now, the Six Bricks is what I'm going to be talking to you about today, because this is an absolutely phenomenal resource and program that was brought to us by Care for Education in South Africa. They're based in Johannesburg. Well, of course, because Lego was on my radar, when I came across the Six Bricks, my first reaction was, how is it that I never knew about this wonderful resource before? So I went out to South Africa. I was privileged that I was in a position that I was able to do that, and I trained in Lego or in the Six Bricks program. So since then, I've gone on to become a trainer of others in the program, and I train up to what's called levels 4, I should say, levels 1, 2, 3, and 4. Don't worry about the levels for the moment, but just to say to you that if you do go on to do any certified training in the future, there are various different levels. So what I want to do is I want to just share some of that experience with you in this session. So by the time we're leaving in an hour, 45 minutes to an hour's time, what I want you to have is a clear understanding of what is Six Bricks, why it's called the Six Bricks program. I would like you to have a sense of how Six Bricks can support development. And I would also like to share with you some of the activities from the level 1 and 2 program or course. Now, I don't know if anybody has any bricks with them today, and if you do, please feel free to join in. And if you don't, then just be present and enjoy the activities. Okay, I will talk to you a little bit at the end about professional development, and hopefully I get to answer a few of the questions that might be put into the chat if we've got time. Okay, so the first thing that I want to show you is that the bricks are these large Duplo bricks, okay, and I hope you can all see them there. There's a picture of them in that slide. I'm just holding a set of bricks in my hand. And these are the larger Duplo bricks. Okay, they're not the small Lego bricks. There's actually a big difference in the size of them. These are the 2x8 bricks. Let me just hold up a tiny Lego brick there so you can actually see the difference in the size. So it's really important for this program that we use the larger bricks. So we have 6 different color Duplo bricks. They are the 2x4 studs. There's 8 studs on the top of each brick, so they're 2x4. And they come in a set of 6 colors. So we have yellow, orange, red, green, light blue, and dark blue. Now we always have these colors. Okay, it's really important that the children have the same colors because all of the activities that have been written based on these 6 colors. Also, if you're working with more than one child, it's important as well to have the same colors, because if you're inviting the children to pick up their green brick, you want to make sure that they both have a green brick. And you don't want one child turning around and saying, well, you never mentioned the purple brick. So everybody needs to have the same colors. Now, there is also something very unique about these 6 colors. As well as being attractive and fun and drawing the children in, if we divide the bricks into 2 parts, we have 3 warm colors and we have 3 cool colors. So we can teach the concept of cool and warm with these bricks. The other thing that you might have noticed is that there are 2 blue bricks. And the reason we have 2 blue bricks is, again, because we teach the concept of light blue and dark blue. So light and dark, okay? So once you become familiar with the 6 bricks and some of the activities, you begin to see these little concepts nicely slipped into the activities. So this program is very much about learning through play. It's not about replacing free play. Of course, the children can still play with their Duplo bricks, but it is about supporting their learning through the bricks as well, okay? And it's about, I suppose, using the bricks in a quick daily way. So if we get an opportunity to do a 6 bricks activity every day, that would be would be fantastic if you had the chance to do that, because the repetition does really help the children. Most of the activities don't take a lot of time to do, so maybe 5 or 10 minutes, some of them only 2 or 3 minutes. And in fact, some of my activities that I do on my training courses only last about 30 seconds because we use them as little brain breaks, brain gyms, and so on. So it's very easy to adapt the 6 bricks to your situation. They are what we call manipulatives that remain on the desk. So when I talk about a manipulative, I'm talking about something that very easily fits into the hand. So very easy to manipulate, very easy to pick up. So you saw there earlier when I showed you the Lego brick, there is a big difference in the size of the bricks. Therefore, these are much easier to pick up and to move around, okay? We say that they are kept on the desk. I say that slightly tongue-in-cheek because we know that if a child keeps a set of bricks on the desk, it's very hard for them to resist those bricks. They will want to touch them and they want to play with them. So maybe that's not always appropriate, but we do like to keep the bricks close by so that if there is a learning opportunity, a moment to do something with the bricks, that we don't have to go off looking for the bricks, or we don't have to go looking through a box of bricks trying to pick out the right colors. So keep them close by, maybe on the shelf. They also assist with numerous areas of development. So as well as the physical and the intellectual, the language, the social, the emotional development, the other thing that we can do is we can peel all that back, and there's so many different things that we can support within that. So for example, we could practice our depth perception with the bricks. We could practice eye teaming, do exercises for the eyes. We could practice our sequencing. Okay, we could practice our working memory, or maybe our visual memory, our literacy, our numeracy. There isn't anything that we cannot do with these bricks. And finally, we call this a very simple, cost-effective and scalable solution. You couldn't get anything that's simpler than 6 bricks. When you look at some of the resources that we buy for children, and we look at the cost of those, and often they can only be used in certain ways. And then you look at a set of 6 bricks, which is relatively inexpensive. and then you look at what you can actually do with these bricks, they are a fantastic resource in terms of their value for money. And it's very easy to scale, because if you want to add more bricks, or you want to add, to what a child is doing, or you want to buy more bricks for a bigger group or whatever, so it's very easy to scale it. Now on the slide, you'll notice that just on the left-hand side of the slide at the bottom, there's a little circular logo. And that logo is for Care for Education in South Africa. They are the brains behind the Six Bricks. And they developed the program in partnership with the Lego Foundation. So that's just a little bit of background for you on the bricks. Okay, so one of the things that I have already mentioned is about students and children, but I just want to say to you that it is possible to use the bricks in different contexts. So it doesn't always have to be with children. Actually, the bricks can be used from the little ones right up to old age. So this is a photograph from a colleague of mine who works in a care home. And so what's happening here is that some of the people here have dementia or Alzheimer's. So the Six Bricks can be used for coordination, for sequencing, for memory, and so on. So some of the skills that might start to decline, where you can work on those with people with, as I said, either in older people's homes or in the situation where they have Alzheimer's or dementia. So if any of you find yourselves in that situation where you're visiting somebody, it might be a good idea to get a set of bricks and bring them in your pocket and just see what happens. Okay. The other thing to say to you is that we can also use them with adults in other settings. So these are a group of guys on a golfing weekend. And you can see on the left-hand side, and I'm going to do this with you in a few minutes, they're doing a balancing activity. Now, this might look easy, but actually a lot of people struggle with the balancing of the bricks. So it's a lovely activity, and I'll go through it with you. On the right-hand side, you can see the same guys, and it's a very intergenerational setting there, because you've got at least 3 generations there, and they are working with the Six Bricks on what we call the beeline mat. Now, the beeline mat is a mat that you can actually purchase to go with the Six Bricks. It's a very simple mat, just has 5 lines on it. And what they are doing there is they are carrying out a listening activity. So they are very focused. They are doing what they're being instructed to do with the mat. Also notice, if you can see it, that they have one hand behind their back. So a little bit of challenge has been added in here, and it's very likely that what is happening is that they've been told to place their dominant hand behind their back, and they're working with their non-dominant hand as part of this exercise. And they're listening very carefully, because there's instructions being called out to them to move the bricks and do certain things with them. So this is really good for listening skills, for focus and concentration. So they're just a few examples of the bricks being used with other people other than our students. Okay, so when we look at a set of bricks, one of the things we can, if we're trying to define or classify the type of play, we often call it constructive play with the bricks. And we can use those bricks individually. So what I mean by that is a child can work on their own. There's lots of activities that are suitable for a child to engage in individually. We can work with a partner. And what I mean by a partner is they could be, you could have 2 children paired together working with the bricks and carrying out particular activities together. But you could also be working with another adult. That adult could be, for example, a teacher. It could be a special needs assistant. It could be a parent. It really depends on the context and who you're working with. The children can also work in small groups. The bricks work wonderfully when you have a group of 3 or 4 children together. And then the question that I often get asked is, can you do the Six Bricks with a whole class? Well, actually, the Six Bricks works beautifully with an entire class if you've got 20 or 30 children, because what you can do is the bricks are so visible and so easy to see that you can actually scan that whole room and you can see exactly what the children are doing. So in that sense, you can use it almost like an assessment tool. So I've already mentioned about the range of ages, and often I'm asked, is this suitable for like 4 and 5 year olds? Is it for 10-year-olds? What is it? And really, what I would say to you is that because we adapt the activities, because we scale them, because we add complexity and we remove them, and this is something when you're doing training that you're taught how to do this. And for that reason, we can actually use the bricks across a wide age range. So we can use the bricks then to support or to remediate learning challenges. And I've already spoken to you about them being very easy to manage. So we try to keep them on the desk. Sometimes when we keep them on the desk, we keep them as a little cube. Do you see the cube up there on the right-hand side of the slide? So we would often store them like that, and they tend not to get knocked over quite as easily. They are very time efficient. So I've already mentioned that 30 seconds, 2 to 3 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. But the secret to the success is if you have a group of children that have 6 bricks, try doing a very short activity with them every day, because that actually it very much increases the level of success with the bricks. So the other thing just to say to you is that there are lots of 6 bricks activities and resources available. If you go on to the Lego Foundation website, you'll find a free booklet there that you can download, and there's lots and lots of lovely 6 bricks activities in that. And of course, if you decide to go on certified training, then you get access to teacher manuals and like a huge resource folder, like a portal and so on. And of course, there are certified trainings going right up to levels 5, and there are thematic workshops as well. But there's loads to get you started. Now, one of the first things that we often do with the bricks is we often get the children just connecting bricks to start with. And that's where you just take 2 bricks, and normally the children would connect them like that, okay? And that's fine. One of the things we can't presume is that children have handled bricks before, and some of them may need a little bit of help to actually get those bricks to connect so they hear them click. Also, some of the little fingers just need to get used to handling the bricks. And so often what we do is we get the children to work in small little groups and see how many different ways they can connect their 2 bricks. So as well as putting a brick on top of another brick, of course, we can connect the bricks in lots of different ways. So we could, for example, just cover 4 studs like that. We could cover 4 studs like that. Okay, we might cover 2 studs like this. Okay, we might even just cover 1 stud. And when we cover 1 stud, we can actually get some movement into the brick like that. So what Lego tells us is that it's possible to connect the bricks in 24 different ways. So it's a nice little challenge for the children just to see, can they work out as a group how many ways they could connect the bricks, for example. We also know that it's possible to connect 6 Lego bricks in more than 915 million different ways. Now, if you don't believe me, after this session, all you need to do is do a search and Google it. How many ways can you connect 6 Lego bricks? And you'll see how this was worked out over a period of time. It took several days for a computer package to actually work this out. I'm not in a position to challenge it. Far too many numbers there. But I'm saying it to you because sometimes people say to me, Miriam, if only 6 bricks, sure, you couldn't do much with 6 bricks. Well, I say, wait until I tell you. If you can connect your bricks in more than 915 million ways, can you imagine what we can do with 6 bricks in terms of activities and things that we're doing in the classroom and so on? So really, I want to just emphasize that this is a hugely, hugely versatile program and creative program. Okay. So now what we're going to do is I am going to demonstrate for you an activity that comes from the 6 Bricks program. This is the certified program. It's called a high 5. And all you need actually for this activity is 2 bricks. So I'm going to demonstrate this in a moment. So what I'm going to ask is if it would be possible just to remove this slide for a minute and put me into full view. So that everybody can see me. So I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. Okay, is it possible? Perfect, thank you so much. All right, so you just need 2 bricks. Now, what I would say to you is that if you haven't got bricks with you today, don't worry. What you can actually do is you can pick up something off your desk that kind of looks like the shape of a brick or is about the weight of a brick, even if it's just one item, and just play along with me, because this is about playful learning. So what we can do is we can place the bricks on the back of each hand. Now, I showed you a photograph earlier of some guys on a golfing weekend, and this is the activity that they were doing, okay? So what the children have to learn is to keep their hands stiff and balance these bricks. Now, for some children, this is quite tricky, okay? And the bricks will keep falling off. And particularly when they go to put the second brick on the hand, what you often find is that this one falls off. So we might need to just, as I said, give them a little helping hand, or the children can help each other. So if we're working with the little ones, what we can do is we can get them to put their bricks out to the side like this. And of course, they can become airplanes going around the room. Okay, they can make airplane noises, whatever they want, and they can, their airplane can sort of, make different kind of moves. Okay, so again, it's all about focus and concentration and keeping these bricks balanced. Okay, we can go on to the other things. So we could, for example, be birds. And what's fun as well is if you have some music in the background to give a little bit of atmosphere. What we say to the children is, if you drop your brick, don't worry, just pick it up again and keep going. Now, as we're working with older children, there's lots of different things we can do with this as well. So for example, we could include this as part of a PE routine, a physical education routine. So we might stretch the hands out like this, and we might do our squats, okay? Like this, okay? Now, another thing we can do with the bricks is we can practice bilateral integration. Now, bilateral integration is that capacity to be able to use both sides of the body at the same time in a coordinated way. In other words, we're doing two different things with each hand is doing something different. So if we placed one hand at the tummy and one hand over the head like this, and then we swap hands, we're actually engaged in bilateral integration, but we are also crossing the midline. I'll explain crossing the midline to you in a moment. So we can just move the hands like this. And of course, when the children start, they're only making a very small move, and then you encourage them to go lower and higher with the bricks so that they're swapping hands. And that can be quite a difficult move for some children to do. The other thing we can do is we could, for example, teach prepositions while we're doing an activity like this. So the children don't even realize that they're learning prepositions. So we could step forwards, we can step backwards. So this is really good for their spatial awareness as well. We can step to the left, we can step to the right, okay? We can even do some simple maths. So we could say step forward 10 minus 8, okay? So now we're stepping forwards 2 because the answer is 2. Step backwards, okay, 7 minus 5. So now we're stepping back 2 moves, okay? And so it goes on. Now, the other thing we can do with these balancing activities, I'll just sit down here for a second so you can all see me, is we could incorporate these into a little storyline. So we could be reading a story to the children or telling them a story. And then at the same time, they can be using these bricks and balancing them, but get involved in the story. So we might be climbing. There might be a climbing move. We might be swimming, okay? We might be shielding our eyes from the sun, okay? We might be doing our robot moves, okay? And so on. So you can incorporate these in any way. So coming back to what I showed you a moment ago, I said to you that this was a high five activity. You don't need to get too excited about the names. They just have been given names. Why was it given a high five name? Well, because at the very end, you pick up the brick off the other hand and you high five like that. So that's just a basic activity, really good for coordination, for balance, and then incorporating loads of other learning into it without the children even realizing it. Okay, so we'll go back to the slides again, please. Perfect. That's a sample activity. Okay, so that brings me on to the field of vision. Now, what do I mean by the field of vision or the range of vision? And this is one of the most exciting things about 6 bricks, okay? If you look at that slide, you will see that on the top part of the slide there, we've got 4 bricks. Okay. Now, 4 bricks is the average range of vision or field of vision of a child. That means that when a child looks forward, okay, they can roughly see 4 bricks, okay? And that means that they're looking straight ahead. They can see a little bit above, a little bit below, and a little bit to each side. And this was well researched in terms of, what could a child see? And roughly it equates to a line of 4 Duplo bricks. So the key thing here really was to see if that could be expanded, okay, and that the peripheral vision could be developed at the same time. And that's why the 2 bricks were added on to the side there to make up the 6 bricks. And you can see there's a little broken line there where we're crossing the midline. Now, I'm going to try and show you this on my desk, if that's at all possible. So let's give it a go. So if you could just put me back up on the screen again for a moment, and we will just remove the slides. Fantastic. Okay. So I am going to lower my screen, and I'm hoping that everybody will be able to see this well enough. So remember a moment ago, I was saying to you that we're working with 4 bricks, and this is roughly the field of vision of a child. That's what they can see when they look ahead. Okay. If we were to look to see where the midline is, it's there. It's the midpoint. Okay. But what we want to do is we want to develop the child's peripheral vision. That's the vision that they see outside of this. And that's moving from the concrete to the abstract, as it were. So that's why we added on the extra 2 bricks. And that's why it is the 6 bricks program, so that the children are developing their peripheral vision. Now, let me just show you what you could do, for example, to cross the midline. Okay, so you could get a child to pick up a brick with their right hand and move it over to the other side. I'm just going to push these along now to make sure that everybody can see them. So what the child has done is they've used their right hand to pick up a brick, and they've crossed that midline that was there. Okay. We could also get them to engage in bilateral integration by crossing their hands, and they could pick up the 2 end bricks and they could swap their places. Note I did 2 moves at the same time there. Each hand did its own move. I could, for example, pick up the bricks and just swap them like that. Okay. Or I can cross the hands and do it the other way around. There's other things you can do here, though, that are very exciting. So, for example, I could pick up the orange brick and I could place it in front of the yellow brick. I could place the dark blue brick behind the yellow brick. Notice that when I'm talking about the bricks, I'm always referring to them as light blue and dark blue when I'm talking about the blue. Really important that you give them their proper name. So I can invite the children to move the bricks with a hand, left hand or right hand, or just give them free choice in terms of where they move the bricks. So, for example, I could pick up invite them to pick up the light blue brick, and I could say, place it in between the green brick and the red brick. Okay. Notice I'm starting to bring in prepositions here in terms of the moves. And so this is quite a directed activity, okay, and the children need to be ready for that. If I'm working with younger children, I might not use 6 bricks at all to start with. I might just start with 3 bricks until they get proficient in using 3, and then gradually add in more bricks. Of course, they need to know their colors as well. Okay, so what we could do then is we could pick up the red brick and we could place it on top of the yellow brick, okay? And then we could place the, for example, we could move the little tower over to the right of the light blue brick. We could place the orange brick on top of the red brick, the dark blue brick underneath the yellow brick, and then we could place the light blue brick in between the red brick and the orange brick, and finally place the green brick at the bottom of the little tower. So you can see there that there's a lot of things that you can do with those bricks, and we call that a listen and do activity. So it's developing the field of vision. And you saw there where I was crossing the midline and so on, going back and forth. Okay, brilliant. So that brings us on then. And of course, why do we cross the midline? Well, of course, you know, if you watch a child trying to put on their shoes and socks, often what you'll see is they keep changing hands if they haven't quite learned to cross the midline. And then we're doing things like bilateral integration. For example, if we're using a knife and fork, both hands are doing the same, different things at the same time. So everything we do in life, you need to be able to cross the midline and you need to be able to engage in bilateral integration. Okay. So that brings me to another activity, which we call move your body. Now, so what we do with something like this is we can do different moves with the bricks. So for example, we could toss those bricks in the air and catch them, okay? And catch, we could throw and clap on the way down and see how many claps you can get in, okay? We could throw with one brick, two bricks, we could throw with a cube. Of course, the difference here is that the more bricks you have, the easier it is to catch because you've got more to catch, but the faster the bricks will come down. So this is a great way of having a conversation with the children around weight and speed and so on. So everything we do with the 6 bricks, it's possible to bring in a discussion about other things, okay? We can also move the bricks around the body, around the head, for example, like this. So this is really good for coordination. And then we might, ring a bell or clap our hands, and that's an indication that we want them now to go the other direction. So if they started clockwise, then they're going to go anti-clockwise and vice versa, okay? This is really good because you'll have children who will start to move the bricks around the body like this, around the head, and then you say change direction, and they'll kind of go, not quite sure how to do that, and they'll have to think about it for a moment, so it won't necessarily come naturally to them. We can move the bricks around our body, around our leg, whatever we want to do. So there's so many different moves that we can do with this. We can also balance the bricks on our head like this, okay, and hold them for a few seconds. So a bit like we used to walk around with books on our heads when we were kids, trying to be cool. Okay, so yeah, lots and lots of possibilities. So if we could get that slide up again, please. Thank you so much. Okay, so you can see there that you can walk around with the bricks under your chin. You can try juggling, lots of different things, okay? Right. So another thing we can do with the bricks is we can build tricky towers. So all that involves is taking your bricks and placing your bricks one on top of the other. And what we often try to do is we often try to build 6 bricks. We keep going with the 6 bricks until we've built a tower. Okay, so I've just got 4 bricks there to show you. Okay, but what's really good is if we get the children to build with one hand. Okay, so they might start with their dominant hand, and then we can swap hands and they can use their non-dominant hand. Okay, we can, when they're building, we can include pattern in the build. For example, we could invite them to build with the studs to the left and the studs to the right, to the left, to the right. We might even invite them to build with a cool color, warm color, cool color, warm color, and so on. So lots of possibilities there in terms of building. We could get them to build with their eyes closed and focus purely on trying to visualize in their minds where the bricks are, but also rely on the sense of touch. Okay. Another thing we do with the bricks is we build on the desk, and this is a great one for a child working on their own. So we give them cards, or we can put these up on whiteboard or something like that, depending on what facilities you've got. So we can show them these cards, and then they literally are laying these bricks out on the desk in front of them. Okay, so they're not connecting the bricks, but they're just trying to recreate. So we're taking a 2D image and we're creating a build on the desk with that. And those builds can go from 2 bricks to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6, depending on the age and the stage of the children in terms of what we're trying to do. Okay. We can also practice, and this is a similar thing with cards, except that we built a 2D model and photographed it. Sorry, we built a 3D model, we photographed it. So now, obviously, because it's a photograph, it's a 2D model. And we get the children to look at it and see, can you build what you see there? Now, of course, we know that the dark blue brick there is underneath the green brick. But for some of the children, when they look at that, they will believe that actually it's coming out the side of the green brick. Okay, so this is really important for their depth perception and being able to discriminate and so on, and be able to build this to actually work out what they're seeing in the photograph and what the reality is in the build in their hands. Okay, and I'm always fascinated to watch children build these, because some will start at the bottom, some will start at the top, some of them start at the back, and some at the front. So it's always interesting to see how they work it out. So this obviously is a very crisp photograph, so we always try to make sure that our photographs are really clear, and you can see the number of studs on the bricks. So the children can work it out as well by counting the studs. Okay. Another thing that we do with the bricks is we use the bricks as part of story sequencing. And what I mean by story sequencing is that we include the bricks, the colors of the bricks, that is, into little stories. Okay, we tell the story to the children, and then we invite them to find those color bricks in their little set of bricks. Okay, and see, can they get the bricks into the order that they appeared in the story. So I'm just going to give you an example now of a story, and you'll see what I mean. So Mrs. Rabbit decided to go to the market to buy a big bag of tasty orange carrots for her family, as there was only one carrot left in the carrot box. Before she set out on her journey, she checked the weather, as the sky was a dark blue colour. "I think it's going to rain," she said. So she put on her shiny yellow raincoat, her red Wellington boots, and light blue rain hat, which had holes cut out for her ears. She was now ready to start her journey, and she hopped happily through the green grass to get to the market to buy some carrots for her family. Now, I might tell that story to the children a few times, okay? And then I might say to them, so now what I want you to think about is, I want you to think about the colours that were in that story, and I want you to see if you can line up your bricks in the order that those colours appeared in the story. And then we're going to use those colours to help us to retell the story. So we might line up the bricks all in a row, or we might actually build a little tower of the bricks. Okay. Now, it doesn't really matter. It's up to you what works best for the group that you're with. If I'm working with really young children, what I might say is, so as you hear the color, pick it up and place it on your desk and make a little train. But if I'm working with older children, what I actually want to do is I want to practice their inhibitory control with the bricks. What I mean by that is I want them to be able to resist touching the bricks until I say, okay, now you can pick up the bricks. So if I was to turn this set of bricks then on its side, okay, sorry, the other way around, Mrs. Rabbit decided to go to the market to buy a big bag of tasty orange carrots, okay? And so the story goes on. I won't go through the whole thing now, but the children then have the story in the form of the bricks, which are in the correct sequence. So then should be able to tell you the story back in their own words and using the bricks as an aid to do that. Okay, so it's very neat. And those people that go on to do training, I mean, you can make up these stories so easily yourselves, but there are, I think in the folder that I provide to my participants, there's over 200 stories. And so the stories can be about just about anything you could imagine. Okay, so really, really versatile. This activity is fantastic for working memory, for visual memory, okay, because they're trying to visualize the story, and it's brilliant for sequence, okay. Of course, listening skills and all the rest go with it, but really good for their visual memory, okay. Okay, so back to the slides again. Thank you. So that's your story sequencing. Okay, so I'm just going to show you something else that we use. And this does take a bit of training in, so I'm only just going to flag it for you today. But this is the move and learn, or moving around as it's sometimes called, mat. With 6 bricks, we have lots of different mats available, and the mats are just magical for working. I know some of you are asking where to get the bricks, and when I get to the end of the presentation, I'll actually tell you where you can get the bricks. If you look at that mat, you will see that it's made up of numbers. It's made up of shape boxes. It's made up of lines, and it's made up of color boxes. So what we do with the children is we use this mat to develop their form perception. And what I mean by that is their ability to be able to pick out different shapes, different colors, different types of lines, and so on, no matter where they are based on that mat. So we take the children through different routines of being able to get around that mat. We also use we can use the mat for number. Okay, so for example, I might say, use your red brick and place it on number 3. Now jump to the number that is 1 more. Now jump to the number that is 2 less, and so on. Okay, I might use it for teaching up and down. So you might place your brick on the, for example, on number 2, and I might say move up the wavy line to number 8. I might use it for teaching left and right. So I might be on the diamond there at the top of the board, and I might say move left to number 8, and so on. Or I could have moved right to number 1. So there's so many things that we can teach. You know, we can go diagonally up a line. We can travel along parallel lines. We can go along a broken line, and so on. Okay. We can also imagine that this mat is different things. So it could be, for example, a street map, and I might be living at number 2, and my friend might be living at number 7, and I'm going to go and have tea with my friend or dinner or something like that. And I might ask the children, now work out how you're going to get there. Okay, how many moves is it going to take you to get from 2 to 7? And so every child can get there in their own way, and they show you the route that they're going to take, which is really interesting. And then you could say, so which route might be the shortest? Which route might involve the least number of moves, and so on. There's so much we can do with this mat. It's just one of my favorites of all time. We also have simplified versions of this mat. So I'm just going to very quickly show you that there's a simplified version there. I don't know, sorry, to make sure you can see it there, where some of the information has been stripped out of the mat, okay, to make it a little bit simpler for younger children. Okay, so that's great. So thank you. Right. We also have this mat, which is called the crossing of the beeline, or crossing the beeline. I call it the beeline mat for short. And again, this mat is very much about lining up the bricks on a line and then moving the bricks up and down or in front of another color, and so on. And we can also do mats with this mat. So what we do is we split the mat down the center, and we can have the first 5 lines on the left-hand side. The first line is number 1, then number 2, 3, 4, 5 up to the top, and then you come to the right-hand side, and then you've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That probably sounds a bit crazy, but actually it works really well. And when you're shown how to do it, it's pretty awesome. You can see tiny, very faint grey lines, grey boxes, I should say, on that mat. And one of the things we can do is we can say to the children, so place your green brick top left, your red brick top right, your yellow brick above the red line, center above the red line, and so on. So we can get them to position their bricks on this mat. So this is really good for spatial awareness. Okay. Now, there are lots and lots and lots of resources available. Now, as I said to you, if you go to the Lego Education website, the Lego Foundation website, you will find a little booklet, a red booklet that's free there, and you can download it. If you want to get more detailed information about 6 bricks and you want to do the training, then obviously that's something I do. Other people do it as well. And you get a lot more resources given to you. You get teacher manuals and all sorts of things. So, you know, just to say to you that you will get enough to get you started. But if any of you then get the bug like I got it, I mean, it was just, I couldn't get enough of six bricks, then you might want to think about some training in the future. And there is certificate training that's endorsed by Care for Education. Okay, so that brings me on. I mean, I do have courses coming up. You know, I run courses all the time. I run them in different time zones and so on to suit different time zones. So there's lots of possibilities. The one thing you do have to remember is that usually, well, certainly when I'm training, I always send out a training kit. So you need to leave enough time for it to get to you, okay? Because when I train, I always train in a hands-on way. I don't like this is just an information session. It's a taster, an introduction. But I like people to actually use the bricks when they're with me, so that I'm confident that they're going away really well practiced in the use of the bricks. So lots of possibilities. If anybody needs to email me about anything, my email address is there. It's miriamodonoghue@gmail.com. Okay. And that's my, if any of you are looking for my website address, that is it as well. Okay, sixbricks.ie. Okay, so one of the things that I did promise to show you is, and I think if I come to the end there, I have. Okay, so one of the things I did say that I would tell you about was the Six Bricks shop. There is now a Six Bricks shop available that sells bricks and sends them all over the world. Okay, and it's if you just do a search for Six Bricks shop, the company is called sixbrickseducation.com. So it's just do a search for Six Bricks shop, okay, and it will come up. And they sell bricks, they sell all of the books, they sell all of the mats and so on. And there are some amazing mats that are available to teach Six Bricks. And I'm not sure, they also have a lovely, I'll show you this because we have time, I think. They also do some lovely storybooks that involve Six Bricks. So this book is about Grubby. Grubby is like a rabbit, and he's in the colors of the Six Bricks. Now Grubby stands for green, red, orange, blue, and yellow, and they are the colors of the Six Bricks. Okay, so it's a lovely storybook where Robbie gets into all sorts of situations, that develops all sorts of skills and so on. And at the back of the book, then there's lots of different activities. So when we started with Six Bricks at the very beginning, we had very few resources. Well, I mean, we had all of the resources that Care for Education gave us. But we, over the last few years, because Six Bricks has snowballed, we have more and more available to us. And of course, every trainer now is developing their own resources. So we're really spoiled for choice if this is snowballing around the world. So I'm just looking to see if there's anything else that I want to share with you. So just one final thing that I might just share with you. I'm going to just try tilting my screen and hope for the best that you'll be able to see this. So I don't know if this is probably appearing upside down. Is that? I wonder, is that the right way around now for you? So what I want to show you is if we were trying, this is like a maths mat. So if we were trying to teach six, for example, and we wanted to make up combinations of six, I could put any number in there actually. So looking at that, I might go, so 2 bricks, and just put 2 bricks in there, and then maybe put 4 bricks in here. So that gives us, so 2 plus 4 equals 6. So I could write that in my copybook, 2 plus 4 equals 6. But then again, I could move that one over there, and I'm going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 3 plus 3 equals 6. But I could also move that over there. So 4 plus 2, or it could be 5 plus 1, or it might be 6 plus 0 equals 6. So you can see that there's different combinations, and the children can write that into their copybooks. So it's teaching maths in a very concrete, manipulative way. When you turn over the mat, you can see there that just to put my screen back up again here so you can see. But you can see that when I turn over the mat, it's also possible to have it divided into 3 groups as well. So we might put like 2 plus 3 is 5 and 1 is 6. So you can arrange this in any number of ways. So you get all of those on that website that I mentioned to you a moment ago. So I'm just conscious of the time. I just want to see, has there been any questions in the chat? I did answer the question about the bricks. So somebody said, when these new materials are not available, please suggest low-cost materials as well. Okay, so all of those materials, I think, are low cost. So the maths work out, I'm talking euro now, so you'll have to convert this into your own local currencies. The maths work out under €1 each, which is very cheap. They're really stiff mats, they're laminated, so they will stand up to a bit of use. You can photocopy all of them as well. And the bricks, you buy a set of bricks. Again, they are pretty standard price all over the world. And those bricks will last. You know, they are indestructible, literally. And you will have them for year after year after year. Okay, so on that note, I think that I'm going to finish the session. And I would like to thank you all so much for joining me. I hope it was worth your while. I hope you learned something. And I wish you all the very best with your 6 bricks journey ahead. Thank you.
Hello, Global Forum for Teacher Educator members. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm Lila Duffy, and today I will be singing We'll Meet Again.
Just feel the music through you.
Suddenly you're nowhere to be found. I turn around and everything has changed. Looking for a way to work it out. I'm trying to find some peace and navigate the oak tree where I met you and the writing on the statue. I still remember every word you said. I'm not a soldier, but I'm fighting. Can you hear me through the silence? I won't give up, 'cause there will be a day we'll meet again. We'll meet again. Everything we wanted turned to gold. The path we chose, the future on our side. Never thought I'd do this on my own, but now I wield the sword you left behind. The oak tree where I met you and the writing on the statue. I still remember every word you said. I'm not a soldier, but I'm fighting. Can you hear me through the silence? I won't give up, 'cause there will be a day we'll meet again. We'll meet again. For the sunrise, clouds for a blue sky, space for the traveling stars. From the inside, you're still my lifeline. I feel you wherever you are. The oak tree where I met you and the writing on the statue. I still remember every word you said. I'm not a soldier, but I'm fighting. Can you hear me through the silence? I won't give up, 'cause there will be a day we'll meet again. We'll meet again. We'll meet again.